Hey, what's up? It's John Samuel, and welcome back to All Access Live. We are been gone for several weeks, but we're excited to be back, and we have a very special guest today. We have one of my favorite entrepreneurs out there. We have Hannah Olson, who is the founder and CEO of Chronically Capable, and now the co-founder and CEO of Disclo, which is an amazing new product out there to help organizations really kind of break down that barrier of disclosure with their employees. And I can't wait to learn more about it with Hannah. So welcome, Hannah.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
I know. I mean, I've had the opportunity to know you now for a few years, and I remember the first time that you and I got connected. I think we had like 3 or 4 people who were like, "You guys need to meet." It's like Jackie Ferguson, Lori Samuels, and others out there who are like, and we made it happen, and we got to kind of get to know each other. But I think I've had the opportunity also just to watch you really build a brand for your businesses and also for yourself, and so it's been really cool to watch from as a partner and as a side. So super excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you, and I'm excited to be here. It's also been great watching you guys grow as well. So it's been awesome getting to know you since just the early days. It's been a few years now, I guess, that we've been friends and partners. I guess
Yeah,
we're on like 3 years that we've known each other.
exactly right. It was pre-pandemic, and it was and you've gone from a move. You went from Austin to Atlanta, and I want to dig into that too. But I think I know you share your story quite a bit, but I'd love to just like have for those who don't know, I think it's really important to understand the why behind Hannah and Chronically Capable, and then Disclo. So if you don't mind sharing just a little bit about your journey to where entrepreneurship, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I'll try to keep this brief. But so I was diagnosed with Lyme disease in college. If you're not familiar, I was bit by a tick. Unclear when that happened, but took me a few years to get to a diagnosis. And by that point, it had affected a lot of my ability to participate in my day-to-day of school. When I graduated from college back in 2017, I had the added difficulty of now getting a PICC line placed in my arm, which again, if you're not familiar, a PICC line is essentially a permanent IV. And I was hooked up to IV antibiotics for 8 hours a day for 3 years, which is crazy that it was really that long. But when I first entered the workforce, I really struggled with how to communicate this to my employer. At the time, I really did not see myself as someone having a disability. I had no idea what the Americans with Disabilities Act was, nor did I know what accommodations were. I just really wanted to get into the workplace and be treated the same as those around me. But I quickly saw just how hard it was to manage a full-time job while living with this chronic condition that was really impacting my day-to-day. But I was incredibly capable. And I started to join different communities online, both in person and online. This was pre-COVID days. And I saw that my story wasn't unique and that there were so many people out there who wanted to work and who were able to work and capable, really, but they needed to find companies and jobs that were really in line with their needs. And for lack of better words, they wanted to find companies and employers who care. And so I was fortunate enough, long story short, to end up at a startup with a boss named Kai. Kai was born and raised in Japan with a family member who was blind. And so inevitably accessibility was a huge part of Kai's life and something that he brought into this workplace. And he treated me with dignity and respect and all of the things that all of us want out of our job. And I wanted everyone like me with chronic illnesses and disabilities to have a boss like Kai, a boss who cares. And so that was really the inception of Chronically Capable, which has evolved over the last few years, but that's what got us into this work in the first place. And it's great, as I'm sure you can relate to, getting to work on something that is so important and impactful to you really just helps you to keep going on the tough days. So
yeah, no, that's awesome, because actually I didn't know the story being with Kai. I know Kai as your partner in this business and really kind of getting to know him, but that's really cool to understand that kind of connection. And to have those allies out there, and a boss like that, how important that is in your early in your career. And so, I mean, you went into this entrepreneurship thing. You had a job before, and then you decided to step out and start your own business. Kind of, what were some of the things that just really kind of surprised you that you just didn't expect when you made that leap? Like, what was going through your mind to say, I'm going to go start my own business? What was like going through your mind at that time? And then what did you learn?
First off, I learned that it's not glamorous. I think, people always are messaging us and, "Wow, it's so cool that we saw you in Forbes," and all of these things, and it's great to get the press and accolades, but the day-to-day, it's not glamorous being a startup owner, and I'm sure you can
Oh,
relate to that
yes.
as well, John. Like, there's highs and lows, but, so that was the, first big learning I had. But I think, I saw that I was able to have this lifestyle of balance where, for the first time, I was in control of my schedule. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it was always perfect and always in line with what I needed, but to have that flexibility to be able to go to doctor's appointments, prioritize my health, was really empowering for me. But I also started to learn just how little people and little entrepreneurs there were out there like me trying to start a business, being a female, and then also living with a chronic illness or disability.
Yeah.
We're starting to see this rise in funding going to female startups, still super far behind, but there aren't many disabled entrepreneurs. And so it was really hard to find that community. I was grateful to find people like you and Tiffany, you and others throughout the experience, but it was definitely a bit isolating. And I think going into rooms and fundraising and going through that process, people looked at you and they saw your pitch deck and it was like, okay, I'm actually someone who is sick. And they immediately thought, can she actually do this? Can she pull this off if she's also sick? And so that was something I had to really combat and work through and create a narrative around, yes, I am capable, and yes, we can do this, and use that narrative to really drive the growth of the business. But it wasn't perfect at first. And I think we all have this idea of entrepreneurship is fun and it's exciting, and it is, but it also comes with, speed bumps in the road.
Yeah. I mean, those speed bumps are everywhere because I think people do see the accolades, they see all the shiny stuff around it, right? Like, I think you've received quite a few accolades. I know myself, I've gotten a few in my over the last couple of years, and people see that, but they don't see the making of the sausage in that other terms, right? And it's filled with road bumps. It's filled with lows and highs, but it's a challenging road for people. But I know that with Chronically Capable, you really were trying to create almost this marketplace for people and companies to find good companies and good people and bringing them together. And so what were some things that surprised you as you were building out Chronically Capable about like what companies were looking for and what people were looking for?
Yeah, I think we launched the business at a really interesting point in time. It was quite literally weeks before the pandemic when we launched the official platform. COVID struck, and
Yeah.
suddenly we all went remote, and we made accommodations for everyone, even those without disabilities. And I think it was this really interesting shift because for the first time ever, really, we were talking about illness in the context of the workplace, and it
Yeah.
wasn't something that was taboo or this hush hush conversation. We were forced into this conversation, really. But I think being forced really ignited this idea that we can make accommodations for people. It's not that difficult. It's not that expensive. And I think companies started to realize that we're already doing this. Why can't we start to really prioritize and look for people who are living with disabilities every single day? And so we started to get a really big influx from companies ranging from even these startups, these growing businesses, which I
Yeah.
found to be one of the most surprising things was that it wasn't even just the major enterprises. Of course, we've got wonderful partners on the enterprise side, but even people who are in this high growth stage of building a startup were coming to us saying, we want to build diverse pool of talent and a diverse team from day one. And that was really special for us to start to see that change. And then I think on the job seeker community, it was just crazy to us. We actually never spent a single dollar on sales and marketing on the chronically capable side. So we were building this community organically. And the fact that we grew to be so large with no funding behind advertising, I think
Yeah.
was a testament to the fact that there wasn't a space for people with disabilities to find and connect with each other, and then to also find companies that really were looking for them and wanting to hire them. So I think it was just a really interesting time to launch this business, and we're still learning, we're still being surprised, but overall, it's been just great getting to see people get hired and getting to see more and more companies stepping up and saying, we want to hire from this community.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, it there's a couple things that you mentioned. One was you didn't spend any money on sales and marketing, right? But you were getting this kind of traction. So how much do you think was right place, right time, hustle, and luck? Like, what do you think that mix is for y'all?
It's definitely a combo of the 3, but I think, the hustle piece was huge. I was shameless about reaching out to reporters, trying to get the word out, just telling our story wherever we can, and that started in random blog posts, that I was just writing for these smaller nonprofits, just wherever I could find something I wanted to just share more about chronically capable. And then it went to us like quite literally building lists of here are all the nonprofits in the country that support people with disabilities and reaching out to them one by one and saying, hey, we want to help your community to find jobs. And I think that grassroots effort really, really made an impact in where we are today, because we started to become a resource for companies to share with their communities. And
Yeah.
so by and large, that was a huge driver for us. And then I also think, it was also a right place, right time. I think, we had started about a year before in a soft launch stage, but I think with the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic, it really just started to become something that we had to talk about. And we were, again, just forced into that conversation. So I think it was a combo of the 3 for us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think you need all 3, right? You need all 3, but that hustle piece is, that grassroots effort, like you said, yeah, people may see the Forbes article and all the other big, inks and all those other big magazines and publications that you're featured in, but you were putting out lots of content out there
Yeah.
in the smaller, like, outlets to really get that kind of exposure. And I think that's what, going back to what people don't see in that entrepreneurship route, that what you were doing to make that kind of presence out there known.
Yeah, it's really funny. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud before, but what a lot of people don't know is back 2019, I guess, yeah, through 2020, I was walking dogs while we were starting Chronically Capable. That was my income at the time.
Yeah.
And I was walking dogs in my neighborhood and I was wearing headphones. And on the walks, I would record myself just speaking and creating blog content. And that's,
I
I
love
was
it.
walking through Washington, D.C. with 3 dogs getting yanked. And if you listen to the voice recordings, they're just a complete mess because you can hear me like, no, don't pull me. And then, but that's how we did it. And you have to have that hustle, because at the beginning that, you went through this yourself, I'm sure as well.
Yeah.
Like there's small teams, little resources, and you have to just kind of make it work. And so, yeah, I walked dogs and that's how most of that content got created.
But see, that's like the best stories, right? Because that's like real. That's genuine, like entrepreneurship at its best, right? You're making ends meet by walking dogs while creating content for your business. And because like one thing when I met y'all, you and Kai, like, yeah, talking to Kai, y'all making some really good video content as well, right? You jump on camera and you do a lot of content. And Kai's like, oh yeah, Hannah can do it. She can create some, pump out some really good content. And so, like, how have you leveraged? We talked about a little about your blogs, but what about your video content? How have you been utilizing that to kind of get the word out?
Yeah, we could do even more. It comes down to a time crunch for us, but I'm really fortunate that my co-founder is a videographer. I don't think you can get much more lucky than that to have someone who's comfortable behind the camera and then someone who's comfortable in front of the camera. So that has been, a blessing for us because it's enabled us to just build a lot more quality content. And I think it adds a human element to our work. I think putting a face and a voice and that human touch, even if it's via video, it makes people trust this platform and trust us and understand that we're real people behind this and we
Yeah.
care about this work. And so I think video content's been a huge driver for us and something we'll continue to do. The next thing, I really got to get into TikTok, but I have no idea how to use it. So I think I'm just that generation that's just quite past it that I can't figure it out. So looking for some support on the TikTok video front next.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, because I mean that's what it seems like. So many the kind of the amount of time people are on that platform. It's pretty amazing. But I mean, I know you're active on LinkedIn. What other platforms are you active on?
We've Instagram has been the largest community for chronically capable.
Okay.
been able to attract a lot of folks and connect with others. I think Instagram, especially with the photo sharing and quotes and Instagram lives, people have really enjoyed that. But LinkedIn, from a professional standpoint, has been the greatest platform for that.
Cool. You even did a video with LinkedIn, didn't you?
Yeah, that's another fun fact. I was in a LinkedIn commercial. I don't know if I've told you this, John, but I still to this day get emails or text messages from people. I guess the photos from that shoot ended up on Unsplash, the website, and so I'll be on a random website one sometimes, and my picture will be on there in front of the LinkedIn commercial, and it'll be like their header image. So it's got downloaded like millions of times. It has nothing to do with the business, but yeah, we were in a LinkedIn shoot. That was really cool. So yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, that's great exposure, at the same time. Cause like, that's amazing. Cause I remember when that video came out, it was so cool to kind of see you out there. And then your work is so there is this natural tie with what you were doing and with LinkedIn. And so, that kind of leads into Disclo, which is like the latest venture. And what I think when I first heard of it, I was like so excited. But if you could talk a little bit about Disclo and kind of like how the evolution of this came out and kind of where you want to see this go.
Yeah. So about a year and a half ago or so, we were getting inundated with questions from our job seeker community around how do I disclose my disability at work? When do I do this? Is it going to affect my job or my
Yeah.
ability to get that job, get promoted, these types of things? A lot of fear and shame from the disability community regarding disclosing. And, of course there is, because the system has been really broken and there has been no formal way for people to safely disclose and ask for accommodations at work. No matter what company you go to, they're all going to have a different process. It becomes very awkward where you, as the employee, have to disclose directly to a manager, or if you're lucky, to an HR leader, and ask and share your vulnerable and sensitive health information. And I think that's been a huge issue that we discovered while building Chronically Capable. And so we started speaking with HR leaders and from a range of companies, from small startups again to large enterprises, and across the board. There was no real system. And what we learned is that you can't actually store health information inside of your HR tools. And so companies have been really managing this process offline. And it's just completely risky, unsafe for both employees and employers. And so we created Disclo to really be a hand holder for both employees and employers and help people to disclose their disabilities at work, to ask for accommodations. And what makes it really, really unique is that we actually never share someone's underlying health condition with their employer.
Oh, interesting.
Do that verification directly with your medical provider. And so as an employee, it offers you that protection of, I can still get access to accommodations at work, but my employer doesn't actually have to know my underlying health condition. And that offers, a sense of safety for the employee. And so that's kind of the evolution of how we got here. I think we're really in phase one of Disclo. It's the opportunities are endless for where we're going with this, but we're starting with employee health disclosures and disability disclosures as this entry point.
That's awesome. Because disclosure was such a challenge for me when I was coming out of my MBA, was how do I disclose, right? And I didn't, and it really hurt me because I didn't know how to advocate for myself, and I know that having a product or service like a Disclo that would have helped me in that way, I think would have made a huge difference. And I know that it's going to make a huge impact on the disability community and chronic illness community. And I'm so excited about this. And I admire you as an entrepreneur, and your innovation and your way to listen to the community, identify gaps and fill them with innovative solutions is just something that's so special. So thank you, Hannah, for all that you're doing for our community. And so how, you,
Thank you. And Abler has been a huge part of our success as well. We have to call that out, right, John? Abler has been our accessibility partner. They're our trusted accessibility partner for both Chronically Capable and Disclo. We recommend them to our clients. They are the best. So we are super grateful for you guys as well, and always rooting you on from the sidelines as well.
Thank you so much. And so, Hannah, like, how can people get in touch with you? I know you talked about Instagram. So what are the handles? What are the ways people can kind of follow y'all?
Yeah. So on the Chronically Capable front, we're at Chronically Capable. And Disclo, it's at Disclo time. We're kind of playing off the idea of disco.
Yes.
So come join us. We are on all social platforms. Our websites are online, and connect with me on LinkedIn. I love getting to meet with others, especially if you're an entrepreneur, or even further than that, if you're an entrepreneur with a disability or chronic health condition, reach out to me. You're not alone, and I love getting to support others who are at the beginning stages of their journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Hannah. It's been so great to talk to you, and can't wait to see where you take Disclo, because it's going to be I know it's going to be a massive hit. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.